I was a secret my mother tried to keep. She was 16, white, working class, a child of divorce in a day and age when divorce was still rare. By the time she was 10, my mom had 2 new step-parents. Her mom, my grandmother, had married the church's pastor. And her father, my grandfather, had married the pastor's daughter. My family was intensely devout in their faith, but very human in their relationships. Growing up the child of divorce with the shame of a church scandal made a girl already shy and sensitive even more isolated. By the time my mom was 16, she had left school. Secrets make it hard to connect outside the family circle. My mom had no way of knowing, when she left school, the door that would close for my family, or the danger that would enter her life. The first challenge of my life was my mother's secrecy. It denied me prenatal care and denied a young mother community when she desperately needed it. But the secret of her pregnancy wasn't the only secret. If you read my birth certificate, under Father's name it reads, "Not stated." And for most of the first 12 years of my life, this sums up what I knew of him. Not stated. The secret kept me from a loving father and a warm Dominican family, and even now, those lost years are hard to navigate. The secrecy of my early life led directly to my next challenge: lack of access. If secrecy was slowly eating away at the wellness and options that I had, lack of access accelerated those losses. My father had been in the US only a few years before I was born, and he was a man that knew opportunity looked a lot like hard work. He was bright, able to land an overnight janitor job with a defense contractor, put himself through trade school, started a small business, managed a string of rental properties, and somewhere in those hours managed to raise my 3 half-siblings, one of whom is able to be here today. And he also searched for me. Not having access to my father made me miss out on the lessons and relationships that only he could share. In my research, I focus on risk and resilience. And I've learned how clear the research is, that for girls that have a supportive father in their early life, they do better in school, have more secure relationships, and take fewer risks in adolescence. All of us have a set of risk and protective factors that make the difference between a hard and a soft landing. Almost all the risk factors for teen pregnancy, school dropout, criminal involvement were present in my childhood and adolescence. And I don't know for sure what impact having access to my father during those early years would have made, but I know that his absence endangered me. Later, in college, when I started working with women in prison, I knew without a doubt that their stories could have been my own stories. Except I never got pregnant or addicted or arrested or killed. Secrecy and lack of access could easily have led me to the other side of the prison gate. And while secrecy and lack of access were the challenges that I faced, no challenge was more damaging than the fairy tale of individual success fed to me in my schools, my church, my culture. In my home, there was a clear narrative. Hard work pays off. The individual is responsible for their own success. I knew this was never going to fit with the clear view of the world I had developed. I don't know if I put these pieces together because I was a minority being raised by loving wasps, and they were loving, or if it was because I grew up between homes with welfare benefits that never stretched far enough and homes that had access to good union benefits that always filled the gap. But whatever the reason is, I could see the contradiction between hardworking people who never got what they deserved. And I knew that something else must explain individual success and failure. Don't get me wrong. The myth that I could overcome with enough effort, smarts, fellowships, and second chances, it was inspiring. And I pursued all of those things doggedly. Everywhere I turned, the message to pull myself up by my bootstraps was presented. But these myths contained a darker side when mixed together with secrecy and lack of access. The darker side was that every failure, bump, problem must have been my fault or the fault of those I loved. And it didn't matter if I was being abused, if they were mentally ill, if we were struggling to overcome poverty or addiction. I know I survived my early life because I learned a lesson far too often kept from people. Bootstraps are bullshit. That's right. Bootstraps are bullshit. Individual responsibility is a nice mantra. But to survive, I had to learn that if bootstraps didn't explain success, they didn't explain failure either. And this freedom that I got from learning this truth, well, it didn't make me try any less or seek easy solutions. Instead, it freed me from having to fit a standard that was not designed for me, and allowed me to gather community and support that didn't require secrecy, and didn't block access, and didn't advocate bootstraps as the solution to the problems that I faced. For many years, I was navigating with the belief that success only came through my own efforts. But faith and community programs designed to offer support through challenges made the real difference. Today, I have a lovely family, 5 funny kids, great husband, and I enjoy a career that is very rewarding as a professor and consulting psychologist, helping companies navigate change and maximize talent. In short, I have the life that never could have been predicted from those early years. And it's easy to see this success as being due to my own hard work, confirming the bootstrap myth. But I have what I have because I was able to access the support I needed to take whatever next step was necessary. And when I did, I found communities in classrooms and in programs that connected me in durable ways. I was lucky. My mother eventually stopped keeping secrets, and my father eventually got access to me. And I benefited from formal and informal programs designed to offer support. I want to share the formula for success that I learned. I think this formula offers a common solution for so many problems. Take the problem, remove the bootstrap myth, subtract the secrecy, and add connection. I consider these challenges of my early life, that of secrecy, lack of access, and the bootstrap myth, and I know that these are the thread that run through so many other problems. The challenges and solutions that my story contains provide a map that can lead us to lasting peace, but only if we're brave enough to throw away conventional wisdom and cultural myth. This formula not only explains my success, we can see it being applied to other problems as well. In the tech industry, a light is being shown on the lack of access women and minorities have to high career success. And some solutions have focused on making women more confident, asking them to lean in. But if we look at the formula, we can see community always trumps individual effort. Etsy is getting it. When they spent a year focused on trying to recruit more women into their engineering department, they made a single win. But when they applied this formula, shifted, joined forces with other tech companies to fund a hacker school to develop talent in junior women, they won big, increasing the number of female engineers in their department by 500%. The lesson mirrors the formula. This wasn't an Etsy problem. It wasn't a secret that they needed to keep. Once they let go of that, once they stopped trying to locate the batch of women coders with bootstraps intact, they made progress, connecting with undeveloped talent so that both could flourish. At Columbia University, they're beginning to see the power that comes when secrecy is removed. When undergraduate Alma Solkowicz began carrying her dorm mattress across campus, she was protesting to the administration that they are allowing her alleged rapist to remain on campus. She's subtracting secrecy, refusing to remain silent in the face of injustice. Her efforts and the support of peers on and off campus are making a difference, forcing this issue of campus sexual assault further into the spotlight, and their work is not done. Colleges and universities will not make progress with addressing campus sexual assault until they recognize that this is a community issue, not an individual one. Bystander intervention training is about equipping the community with the tools they need to recognize, prevent, and respond to campus sexual assaults and harassment. And all of our campuses need this empowering. When the Catholic Church was dealing with their sexual abuse scandal, their first response, we know, was the wrong response, treating each individual case as though it was only one person or one parish's problem. And when they responded that way, the problem only worsened. When they shifted gears, became more transparent, and started putting the responsibility on the entire community to protect God's children, they made real progress. And I won't say that the work is done, but I will say the difference is real. Trust is returning, and parishes are starting to thrive again. This formula could work for the NFL and their Players Association. Remove the bootstraps. Stop thinking that this is going to be solved by just helping one player out of the game. Connect players in their organizational pipeline to the skills and the relationships they need to manage conflict on and off the field. And stop making this seem as though it is a single team or a single player's problem. This is a cultural problem, one that we all have a role in addressing. The secret of my life has been how connection always trumps bootstraps with enough access and transparency. I know the formula works because I've seen the power in my own life. When the secret stopped, when the access opened, and when it wasn't about what I could do on my own, my life changed. If you are trying to solve a problem, I want you to try this formula. Are you trying to do it on your own? Seek connection instead. Stop keeping the secrets that separate you from others. Get access to what you lack. This formula, it's working for Etsy. It's working for the Catholic Church. And if you keep applying this formula whenever you see inequality or injustice, then I know you will help make stories like mine unremarkable. Thank you.